Well, relations between the White House and Saudi Arabia's ruling royal family are at a low point and may be set to dive even lower. From President Biden's fighting words on the campaign trail to recent Saudi-led cuts in global oil supplies, the status of the more than 75-year-old alliance is troubled, and many in the administration and on Capitol Hill want a reset. Nick Schifrin begins our coverage.
One of the most colorful visits to the presidential cruiser was that of the ruler of Saudi Arabia.
America's longest relationship with an Arab state began 77 years ago. Four-time elected U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt and Ibn Saud, the warrior monarch backed by a fanatical clergy, created a fundamental agreement, American security in exchange for Saudi energy. But today, that agreement must be re-examined. President Biden told CNN's Jake Tapper last night.
There's going to be some consequences for what they've done with Russia.
What the Saudis did with fellow OPEC leader Russia is the largest oil production cut in more than 2 years over U.S. warnings. It was announced by OPEC Secretary General Haytham Al-Ghais.
We are not endangering the energy markets. We are providing security, stability to the energy markets.
At a price.
Everything has a price,
including the U.S.-Saudi relationship. In the 1970s, Saudi Arabia helped lead an oil embargo over U.S. support for Israel.
You have declared a jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
The kingdom claims it fights the fires of radicalism, but critics call it the arsonist. The Saudi Osama bin Laden sparked global attacks against the West and its Arab allies. 15 of 9/11 hijackers were Saudi. And decades of criticism of Saudi Arabia's poor human rights record crescendoed in 2018 after journalist Jamal Khashoggi walked into the Saudi Istanbul's consulate, was murdered, and cut into pieces. The U.S. intelligence community assessed the operation was approved by the kingdom's powerful crown prince and future king, Mohammed bin Salman. The following year, candidate Joe Biden promised punishment.
We were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
But that proved to be a speed bump that preceded this year's fist bump. President Biden and his team worked with MBS, an acknowledgement the kingdom has helped the U.S. for decades across continents. In the late 70s, Saudi Arabia provided crucial support for the Afghan Mujahideen to defeat the Soviet military and help collapse the Soviet Union. In the early 90s, Saudi Arabia invited the largest U.S. overseas deployment in decades. U.S. troops used the kingdom as a base to fight the Gulf War. After 9/11, the Bush administration held on to the alliance to cooperate on terrorism and target al-Qaeda. And in 2017, President Trump made Saudi Arabia his first overseas stop. Saudi Arabia and its allies helped shift U.S. regional policy. And Riyadh-Washington cooperation helped lead to the historic 2020 normalization agreements between Israel, Bahrain, and the UAE.
Today, the Biden administration is releasing our national security strategy.
Today, the U.S. acknowledges it's well aware that the relationship provides benefits, but the administration will review the relationship and consult lawmakers, including Democrats, who today called for a one-year block on weapons sales.
Saudi Arabia has broken trust with America, and it needs to come to its senses.
The U.S.-Saudi relationship has survived previous challenges. The administration says there's no timetable for its review. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.